Hello there. You're watching the press preview, a first look at what is on the front pages as they arrive. It's time to see what is making headlines with the journalist and broadcaster Jenny Kleeman and the columnist at the article, Ali Miraj. They'll be with us from now until just before midnight. So let's take a look at what is on some of those front pages. And the front page of the Daily Mail has tonight's breaking story from Buckingham Palace. Authorities carrying out a controlled explosion after a man threw shotgun cartridges over the palace gates, the Mail tells us. The same story on the front page of The Sun. They report that the man was heard shouting, "I'm going to kill the king." The Guardian reports that new anti-protest laws are going to be rushed through in time for Saturday's coronation. The Eye goes with Conservative anger following Sue Gray's refusal to take part in the inquiry looking into her dealings with the Labour Party. While the Telegraph reports that the Home Secretary is going to announce that spies are to be brought back in to track down text scammers. And the Metro leads with the case of the nurse Lucy Letby, accused of killing 7 babies and giving evidence for the first time in court yesterday. And a reminder, by scanning the QR code that you see on your screen during the programme, you'll be able to check out the front pages of tomorrow's papers while you watch along with us. Now, as I said, tonight we're joined by Jenny Kleeman and Ali Miraj, and there they are in the big screen. Jenny, Ali, good to have you both with us. And Jenny, let's start off with you in the front page of the Daily Mail, that breaking story in the past couple of hours here. The headline there is man held in shotgun cartridges drama at the palace. And the papers do have a little bit of extra detail. Just take us through it.
Yes, we had to wait for some of these front pages to arrive today because this, of course, happened at 7 o'clock. A lot of the papers would have scrapped their plans for a front page to put this on it. There was a controlled explosion because a suspect threw cartridges, shotgun cartridges, it's been reported, over the walls into Buckingham Palace. Apparently, when armed Royal Protection officers apprehended him, he had a knife on him. We don't know all the details at the moment, but we do know that only one person has been held, and the Daily Mail and also the front of the Telegraph as well is reporting that it was a mental health episode. That's how the Daily Mail phrases it, rather than an attempted terror attack. We also know that King Charles and Camilla were not in residence at the time. So this is a very worrying incident, although it does sound like a disturbed individual. It sounds like a lone wolf attack on the basis of what we know. But again, this is very much breaking news. It also shows that the palace security is in one respect doing its job well, because they apprehended this person, they exploded his bag, and he's in custody. But it's also quite worrying this close to the coronation that anything can be thrown into the grounds of Buckingham Palace. That shouldn't be possible. That shouldn't be the case. And, you know, only in 2017, there was a man who was armed with a sword who drove towards Buckingham Palace, who is serving time at the moment for terrorist offences. So regardless of what motivated this attack, the fact that anything got into the grounds of Buckingham Palace is worrying, particularly at this time.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jenny. And Ali, let's keep moving on, because as I said, the newspapers do have a bit more detail. We'll go to the front page of The Sun. Jenny mentioned the man in 2017 with the sword. Let's not forget the man who climbed across the wall in Windsor Castle with a crossbow as well. And Ali, the front page of The Sun, Palace shotgun terror they have, and they've got some more detail about reporting of what this man was shouting when arrested.
Yeah, apparently he was shouting he wanted to kill the king. I mean, we have to wait for more details to come out. I mean, the thing that is concerning about this is, as Jenny says, we're very close to the coronation now. This is going to happen on Saturday. You've got international dignitaries from all around the world coming here. The spotlight of the world is going to be on London. And obviously, it's a huge moment, the first time in 70 years that we're having a coronation. So this is a really, really important event for the country. And we also have to put it in context. We don't know about the actual situation here, about what the motivations of this individual were, whether he's suffering from mental health problems or whether there's some other motive to this or other background to it. But what we do know is there have been a number of terrorist attacks in the capital in recent years, resulting in deaths. You saw the Westminster Bridge attacks, the London Bridge attacks, the Lee Rigby attacks. I mean, there have been all sorts of attacks that have gone on. So the threat of terrorist attacks is very real. I remember just before the Olympic Games in 2012, I was actually just behind the Reform Club in Pall Mall and noticed a suspect package there, called the police. They were there in a flash and also did a controlled explosion, because you don't expect to find briefcases lying around the corners behind clubs in Pall Mall. And I think similarly, the police will be clamping down on this very, very quickly, which is why you've seen this man arrested straight away and no one's taking any chances, which seems exactly the right thing to do. And just remember, in 1982, Michael Fagan did get into Buckingham Palace and have a chat with the Queen. So these kind of things have happened before.
Yeah, they have indeed. And just worth reminding everyone, the police have said this is not being treated as a terror-related incident at this stage, but of course we'll get more detail in the coming hours as to exactly what happened. All right, Jenny, let's move on to the front page of The Guardian, coronation-related, of course, and some interesting reporting in The Guardian. They're tagging it as an exclusive. Just take us through this.
Well, this is an exclusive that clearly comes from the anti-monarchist group Republic, feeding it to The Guardian. These new anti-process powers apparently going to be rushed through in time for the coronation. An official warning letter has been sent to the group Republic from the Home Office, saying that new powers are being brought forward to prevent disruption at major sporting and cultural events. And you'll think that obviously Republic will have passed this on to The Guardian in order to garner sympathy and say that they should be allowed to protest as loudly as possible in the run-up to the coronation. And they will be really regretting having given this story to The Guardian today to run in tomorrow's news, when all the other newspapers will be about security concerns around the palace and around the coronation. I think a lot of people will feel quite sympathetic for the policing of protests, given how febrile the situation is. But nonetheless, we need to think very carefully about the right to protest in this country, and particularly when it comes to the monarchy, because the whole point of the monarchy in this country is it is by consent. We have a royal family because we allow there to be a royal family, and particularly at a time when over the weekend, we were all being, the news was being revealed that we are going to be asked to pledge allegiance to the king in the coronation, something that even people who are quite pro the monarchy felt a little bit uneasy about. This doesn't sit very well, this idea that our power to speak out against the monarchy might be curbed. But yes, not a good time to be trying to make a point about excessive police powers and crack down on anti-monarchy protesters when we've got security issues in the palace that would make a lot of people very much in favour of quite a heavy police presence.
Yeah, and Ali, just a quick thought from you then on this. The head of that group, Republic, Graham Smith, said it's very odd that they got this letter at this time.
Well, look, I don't think that this is an assault on freedom or civil liberties at all. I think it's absolute nonsense, frankly. I think the situation is, and this is not just about Republic and the monarchy here, it's also about Just Stop Oil and Animal Rising and all these other groups that go around believing that they have a right to disrupt people's lives, climb gantries on the M25, scale the Dartford crossing, ruin people's lives, prevent them getting from work, stop people getting from hospital, and prevent children's kids getting to school. I think it's extremely selfish. We all understand that people have different views in a society. That's acceptable. It's a democracy. Of course it is. If you're anti-monarchy, you can go and peacefully protest around Westminster like everyone else. But these stories we've been hearing in the last few days about particular groups thinking about throwing rape alarms at horses in the King's coronation parade. What utter ridiculous thing would that be to do? I mean, do these people actually think about how animals react in that kind of situation? I think it's selfish. I think it's disruptive. I think it's completely counterproductive to their aims. If you're a Republican, that's absolutely fine. We can have a civilized debate about it. But the coronation and disrupting it in this particular manner is in poor taste and also is not safe for the animals or the people involved.
All right, let's move on then, guys. And Jenny, front page of the Eye now. A couple of papers, of course, have picked up on this. We got the Sue Gray report into Sue Gray herself, sort of, today, but she refused to take part, the Eye tells us. Take us through this.
Yes. It's like it's Groundhog Day, isn't it? Another year of waiting for Sue Gray to speak. Apparently, she is refusing to cooperate with the government inquiry into her departure from Whitehall. This is because of concerns that this investigation is politically motivated and not based on any official process. For people who aren't complete Westminster watchers, This is to do with Sue Gray, who, of course, investigated Partygate last year. She is now due to become Keir Starmer's chief of staff. There is an investigation into whether or not that is proper. The Guardian has been reporting that there had been widespread briefing today that this report was going to find that she had broken the civil service code by talking to Labour and agreeing to take up this position. But yet ministers have failed to publish it. The Conservatives are accusing her of sabotaging her own reputation by failing to cooperate with this inquiry. Labour says that she's speaking to the appointments body. She's going around the right channels. She just doesn't want to cooperate with the Cabinet Office when this is politicised. All I will say is what a giant, enormous and totally avoidable mess this is. It is affecting her reputation. I don't think it casts any aspersions on her Partygate report, which was based on facts. I think if members of the government haven't been having parties, they wouldn't have been found to have done wrong in her report. But it is damaging for the civil service at a time when the civil service is under scrutiny, particularly after Dominic Raab's claims of it being politicised. She knows a lot of Whitehall secrets that could be potentially useful to the Labour Party. And, Keir Starmer, he wanted her to be his chief of staff so that he could get on with the business of being a government in waiting. And now he may not have her for months on end whilst this investigation takes place. It's all a big mess and it's completely avoidable.
Yeah, it could be much longer than that, couldn't it? And Ali, we haven't got loads of time, maybe 30 seconds or so, but just your thoughts on this. We've got The Guardian have got it on their front page as well, just that same line that she's not going to cooperate. And I guess that for the Labour Party and for Sue Gray, they'll be hoping that this will just sort of run out the time, run out that space that she needs before joining the Labour Party.
Well, look, the Boris Johnson supporters who are living in cloud cuckoo land, that their leader at the time was above reproach, are living in a different world. I mean, the reason Boris Johnson went was Patterson, Parties and Pincher, because he was utterly inept at leading and not getting himself into scrapes. The fact that Sue Gray's in this mess, however, I do agree with Jenny, I don't think reflects well. And one of the 7 principles, Nolan principles, is openness. And Sue Gray is meant to be a bastion of propriety. And I think that her refusal to answer questions about when she started speaking to Keir Starmer is not a good look for Sue Gray, given the fact that she's been basically is now being hoisted on this petard of being the ultimate proprietor of ethics and integrity in government. I don't think it looks good.
No, it certainly doesn't. All right.